And now we're streaming live.
It's preparing at the moment, but I would say in 5 seconds we will be streaming live. I just want to confirm that it is. Yes, we're live.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Monday, June 22nd Parks and Trails Commission meeting. I'd like to welcome our newest member, John. If you'll wave to everybody. Can you hear? Hi. John is our newest Parks and Trails Commission member, and we are delighted to have you on board, and welcome. So welcome to your first meeting.
Thank you very much, Pam. Appreciate it.
Anne, would you like to let's call our meeting to order and take roll call?
Yes. Welcome to the Parks and Trails Commission meeting of Monday, June 22nd, 5:30 p.m. online Zoom meeting. And here we have Adam Baer, Beth Nelson, Allison Barclay, Meg Johnson, John Steinhubel, Pam Holman, Stephanie Peterson, and Ann Nixon. The meeting is called to order. May I have a motion to approve the video recording of our meeting of April 18th as the minutes for that meeting? You can raise your hand. Go ahead.
Motion to approve.
All in favor, you can raise your hand like this. Any opposed? All right, our video is approved as minutes.
And just so the commission members are clear, those are in a form of video recording. So if you have to go back and review, it is available to you online. If you go on our city's website and click on agendas and minutes and scroll down to Parks and Trails, the meeting is there via YouTube.
Okay, I'll just go over the format for our meeting very briefly. If you have something to contribute, just raise your hand and you can unmute yourself at this point. Then if you would leave yourself muted for the rest of the meeting, please. Then secondly, we do need to end our meeting tonight by 6:30. So just so you have a sense on the timeline, we have our Board of Aldermen work session right after this. So we'll just make sure that we end promptly. Shall we begin with Commission Park reports, Pam?
Yes, let's.
Okay.
Let's start off with Longview. Allison? You're muted.
I can do it for you. Here we go. And it takes just a moment to go through.
How's that? Am I unmuted?
There we go. Yeah.
Okay. I just, there still seems to be a lot of fencing that we need to repair, and I'm sure that's on your maintenance schedule, but a lot of the real wood fencing is really becoming in very poor position, situation. Yes. Some of it is coming off the fencing and nails are showing, so.
Thank you for bringing that up. As we talked about at our last meeting, the replacement of those fences is not going to happen this year, just due to our budget freeze, at least for this time. But we are planning to just patch each of those fences. So our staff is cutting wood as we speak.
Okay, that would be good. Just regular wood so that the nails are
exactly. Yep. And we'll use whatever leftover paint we have to paint them if we can.
I don't even think the painting's necessary. I think that could wait if we're going to replace it with the good stuff later.
Great. Okay.
Adam, did you have something to add?
I did. I was just going to ask the question, are there plans to fire up the drinking fountain at Longview and elsewhere? I know a couple of runners that love to drink that water.
Yes, they will be up and running by this weekend.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Okay, Drace?
I was just over there a few days ago and I don't have much to say. The park looks beautiful. Everyone was being respectful with trail use. I had 2 wild kids with me and they had fun. So yeah, everything looks good.
Great. Stephanie?
I just have a question. Do you know how much longer we're going to be doing the one-way trails at those parks? Or does it
Yes.
just until further notice?
No, the one-way has been removed.
Okay, it has
So-
been. Okay,
They are all two-way now.
okay.
Mhm.
Thanks.
And then, Ann, we've had a discussion with regard to the trail itself at Drace. And just so this commission is aware, in regard to asphalt, whether it's in a park or in the city, our city staff is managing that and prioritizing the list. And Drace is definitely on that list, specifically back in the southwest corner, where we do have a lot of erosion and decay. And, we'll weigh the difference between taking action or how we best preserve. Shall we, Preservation Park? We don't have Steve here. Has anyone been over to Preservation? And Town Square. So there was a lot of work being done this past week at Town Square, bioretention issues there. They're working on resolving those. I think they are completed, and switching out some trees. It was the last pieces of a punch list for Brinkman, who helped construct our outdoor space. And we'll have a final review to check those boxes. And I think Town Square, before the end of this month, should be completely finished. Do you have any other information with regard to that, Ann?
I can just add that benches went up today and trash cans were either put out today or are going out tomorrow. And then also the dog waste bag stations will go up this week as well.
And then, John, is there a particular park that you find you or your family in that as we meet monthly or every other month that you could supply us with observations or or items that need maintenance?
Pam, I am in Longview and Town
Great.
Square almost every day. Every
Great.
other day. Yeah.
So then I'm sure you caught on pretty quickly. So we start out each meeting reviewing each of our parks, coming up with the punch list, and takes the notes, and then divvies that up with her team to execute.
Okay, great.
Okay, and if we don't have anything else regarding park updates, we can move on to unfinished business. Okay. St. Louis County Action Plan for Walking and Biking. I'll just give a little background here, John. Last fall, the county came forward with an action plan where they want to develop what I'll use our city terminology, a master trail plan for sidewalks and biking. And they engaged with the community. They set up a couple of workshops where residents could come in and provide feedback and look at information on health and access and connectivity and safety and provide input. And they're taking that data in addition to working with a couple consulting firms and developing a plan across the county of connectivity for walking and biking. The county is projecting to have their trail plan, their first draft, ready to go for municipalities to review this July. They will connect with the municipalities, the city administrator, review their area, get that feedback, input, and go back and rework their plan, and then hope to launch a final master plan for the county in September of this year. And so there was a group of residents that came together and developed a questionnaire for residents in Ward 1 regarding Ballas Road, which is a county road. And those residents compiled that data, put it in a PowerPoint presentation, and our city administrator has that information. So when county comes forward to work with them, they'll have that. In addition, they will be also looking at Conway, Mason, and Weidman, which I think we have sidewalk completely on Weidman. So the update there is the county will be meeting with our city administrator in July to review their mapping plan. Stephanie?
Is there going to be any change to the plan with the COVID-19 and budget restraints and all that kind of stuff?
As of right now, there hasn't, that has not been communicated. The question was asked, are they on track? Do they still plan on launching in September? That question was raised in June and the answer was yes. Ann?
Okay, shall we move on to trail map page updates? So on the trail map page on our website, all of the maps, if you click on the link now, you can get an enlarged printable map. That's for Drace, Longview, and Preservation. We do not have an enlarged map for Town Square just yet. So as soon as we have that, we'll get that added there as well.
So that's a new tab that was added to the homepage of our website, and that request came from residents who were asking for more information on our own city website with regard to our trails in our city. Okay, new business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is more, I feel like I'm taking away your thunder, Ann, by talking about this next point, but it's very exciting. So our parks, as of the 15th, park restrooms are open, tennis courts are open, trails are no longer one way, they're a two way. So we're almost 100% back to business. The one piece that still remains closed are the playground equipment. And I guess I have a question for you, Ann. Do we have any information with regard to the sanitary equipment that is on order?
It's on order, and we have our order in, and it is not delivered, and the delivery is delayed. So all we can do is keep calling and asking when it will come. I honestly don't have a good date for you.
Okay. But with regard to opening playgrounds, what's the conversation there at the county level?
Yeah, this can change any day, as we all know, but right now it does not look like playgrounds will open this summer. There is no, usually county will put out a date, say 2 weeks in advance, a month in advance, that says this is how we're going to proceed with opening. And so far they have said that playgrounds remain closed with no opening date. With one caveat I'll mention, in case you do see children on playgrounds, if there's a day camp, they can use a playground, and there's specific requirements as to how many children and the cleaning requirements between groups and that sort of thing. So if you do see children on playgrounds in other parks, it's not illegal. But that's the reason why.
So it comes down to time and expense of cleaning the equipment?
No, right now public playgrounds are closed by county order unless it's part of a group that's systematically being monitored and sanitized.
Okay.
And may I just bring up something else in this category that isn't specifically denoted on the agenda? What I would really like to get feedback, right now we have input from county that we can hold a special event. If social distancing is maintained, we have to go through a whole application process and share all of the details with them. What I would like to know is a little broader direction from each of you. If you are very interested in offering as many events as possible as soon as we can, if you think we should not offer any events for the public safety, or if you fall somewhere in between. I would just like your feedback in general, because, you know, we base our scheduling on what you all want. We're asking this of each of the commissions. And I just like to sort of hear your feedback, if you would. Or you're also welcome to email me tomorrow if you would rather it be in that format. I'm okay with that.
And somewhere in between.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm all for us doing as much as we can, but without overloading a schedule, so that if something does go awry, there's not enough time to fix in between, right? So I would put myself in the in-between camp.
Mhm.
Likewise, but I would love to try an event. We don't know how many people in our community would come out because of everything that's going on. So I would love to shoot a trial balloon and see if, you know, if we put a live band and some cold beer out there, will the people come? You can't plan an entire schedule at this moment not having any idea of what the turnout would be, my opinion.
Yeah, and thank you for that, Adam. I just to give you all an idea of what some of the requirements are and what we're thinking of. We're looking at getting sponsorship for the concerts, because, you know, we wouldn't spend money on something that is not cost recovery at this point. The Community Arts and Culture Commission has expressed that they are not interested in selling tickets for events. They would much rather solicit sponsorships for events, and they're doing some work on that, which is great. So if any of you have any sponsors you'd like to pass my way, I'm looking and interested. But the other piece would be that people would have to register. We would have to know how many, well, we will know how many people fit on the property socially distanced. And then we'll do 10 by 10 squares is sort of what we have in mind now. The one requirement that was released today is that it's required everyone have a temperature check. Participants, staff, everyone. And so that was something new that has just thrown a little wrinkle into what we were planning. But it would not just be an open concert, come one, come all. It would have to be by registration. We would have to have spots designated. It could still be very fun. We are trying to be creative and figure out how to make something happen. Like Adam said, like, let's just try one and see if we, how many tickets do we sell, or how many, not spots and not selling, but how many tickets do we reserve? And if it's popular. Allison, you had let me just unmute you real quick here. Hold on just a minute.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the wait until we see what the second wave is. But I mean, what you're describing, I mean, there's only so many places that we could do it, Town Square or Longview. And so now you're saying that we would have to take people's temperature. You'd have to somehow keep people out that weren't registered. I don't know that there's any amount of manpower that we would have available to enforce that. And it'd be a disaster if we couldn't take temperatures, if we couldn't follow the rules. So I guess with those constraints, I really don't see how it could work. I mean, how would you'd have to put a fence around it so that only people that were registered would come in. And these are big area. You'd need a big area because you're going to have to measure out, enough distance for personal space. I don't know. Do you see how it could possibly be managed with a staff? I mean, I don't know who would volunteer to be telling people to get out that didn't have a ticket or that had the wrong temperature. Not me, I'm sorry.
That's exactly where we were today, you know, thinking through the protocol of, so if someone has a temperature, do we enforce that they cannot come in? Do we need a police officer to enforce that they can't come in? I mean, it's not really the tone of the events that we usually
Right.
throw. But the biggest concern I have is the point of entry and exit is required. So you have to have a point of entry and exit, and you have to take temperatures upon arrival. So those were the two biggest hurdles, challenges that have stumped me a bit. So that I'm sort of trying to decide, how far do we go? Do we put up a fence around the whole perimeter of town square and check everyone with thermometers? Do we not? You know?
Well, am I muted still? No?
No, you're good.
Okay, I mean, let's say you could put a fence around town square. Who's going to monitor it? Most people think a town and country event is open to town and country residents. So a family comes in. I just think it's, maybe I'm being negative, but it's unmanageable with those restrictions at this point.
How many spaces, parking spaces are located at Drace?
Oh, I don't know that off the top of my head.
Not enough, though?
Not enough. Yeah. I mean, you know, that's actually not a very good answer. Enough to fit that many people, that many cars. You know, I mean, if the concert was for 35 families, then it would be fine, you know, and it would serve the people who are there and they would have a great time. So yeah, we talked about Drace. We talked about Drace Park, that it's, while it's, you know, it's smaller, there's been a pretty strong push to have events at Town Square rather than at Drace Park. That was pre-COVID, of course. So, you know, things can change in that regard, but I guess I'm sort of looking for, in the middle of everything else, how hard and how much staff time shall I allocate to, you know, trying to make that happen. And just wanted to get a sense of where you all are. I don't hear anyone saying a lot fast now, get to it. You know, let's try one. I hear somewhere in the middle. Beth, what do you have?
I'm also in the middle. I mean, I know our family would absolutely come out. I think there would be a lot of interest and it would probably fill up, to be honest. I've taken my kids to the zoo and the science center and our pool that we belong to, and they've all been busy. People are out and taking their families out. So I think there'd be definitely, you get a lot of interest. All of those places have that, what you're talking about, where there's a table and it's staffed with 1 or 2 people, and you have to go through the line. They have the line marked off 6 feet apart where you have to wait until it's your family's turn to come. And then everybody gets their temperature taken and then you're allowed in. But it would definitely take a lot of coordination and having to figure out also, what is the occupancy for the space that you're using? I know that's been a issue for interior places. I don't know if it's also the case if it's outside. So it seems like it's a lot of coordination for one event. If this was something that you were going to do on a monthly basis and you had it all figured out and it was going to just be a routine thing, maybe it's worth all the effort trying to get it to work. But for one event, I don't know, because it'd be kind of a trial and error. But I definitely think there'd be interest. I think you would sell out. I do. When you initially said that, my first thought was the parade. Did you talk at all about having the parade? Because that's spread out along a big portion of Clayton Road, and it's probably easier to keep families separate, although it's not under our control. I don't know. That's just what popped in my head first. But anyway.
That's an interesting idea, though, because if you think about a march versus a parade and monitoring and spacing, it's an interesting idea.
I mean, anybody in the vehicles would be spread out because they have to be. And then it would be up to the individuals to have to space themselves out along Clayton. There's no way to really monitor that, I guess. But it's a bigger, more spread out area.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. You know, we've been brainstorming a lot of things. I'll just share with you that Katie in my office had the idea of having the band be the parade, that the band could be the mobile activity and go to neighborhoods, and neighborhoods could sign up for half an hour, whatever it is. And either have a sponsorship. We were thinking selling tickets for it at the time, because then, I don't know, if you have a sponsorship and then you have a parade concert, well, you're leaving out most of the city. So it doesn't seem very equitable to do it that way from my perspective, that if you paid and the band comes to your neighborhood, then it seems, you know, more equitable. But I'm open to any, or if you think, you know, if we don't have a sponsorship, what's your take on buying a ticket? You know, I'm talking, say, $25 a family for your spot on the lawn.
I think, I mean, people, families in particular, I think are really looking for things to do. So I think that you would find interest even if you do charge for it. Do you know if any other communities, I know De Pere typically has concerts, and Chesterfield has the big amphitheater and has concerts. Do you know if any of those communities are planning anything?
I don't know anybody who has had one yet. Right now, we're trying to get from St. Louis County what is the criteria that they're looking for. Right now it says submit your proposal. Well, I'd really like to know what's the proposal going to be judged upon, and then we'll just meet it. You know, I mean, instead of making it up as we go, we might as well just meet the criteria. So the city of St. Louis has a form like that available. I think we will have a form like that pretty soon. And other cities are asking the same questions. The protocol that came out today with the entrance and exit and required thermometer testing put a little wrinkle in some of the plans, essentially.
What's our date that we have slotted for the fall festival?
First Saturday of November, which I think is the 7th. So I'm looking at my calendar.
So between today and November, we don't have an event planned. Or is the concert series on hold? Is that what you're telling us?
It's on hold. I mean, we've canceled the first two, rescheduled, I should say.
The 31st, the July 31st date?
Right.
Okay. So you're asking for our input for how do we feel, what it would look like, and if we all gave you an answer, what do you think that anticipated date then would be that you're working toward? And the reason I'm asking that is because you've just asked a really important question where I'd like to really think about it and get back to you. And I'd like to see what other municipalities are doing. I'd like to learn more about the zoo. I'd like to learn more about the arch. I'd like to learn more about the Ferris wheel and the aquarium. And so then if we were to execute something, or is that an August date? Because how quickly could something formulate?
Yes, August 4th.
City?
August 14th. Mm-hmm.
And when is back to school? Do we know when back to school is for Parkway? Anybody?
This is the late year, so let's.
Right. So it'd probably be the week of sometime on the 17th. So it could be a back to school, family fun type event in our community, or it could even be the Saturday after.
It's August 24th is Parkway's first day back.
Thank you. So if that in our mind is a date that we want to think of, how do we bring this all together? We'll have more information with regard to cases, how our county is trending, what other organizations and municipalities are doing with regard to large events. So this is June 22nd. So maybe by July 1st, we all get back to you with something, Anne?
Yes, I'm sorry. I just got a note that our meeting was not streaming live. And so I'm furiously saying, trying to check and make sure that it is. It looks to me like it is. If you'll give me, just bear with me. Yes, we're live. Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry. If you would be willing to ask that question again, Pam.
No, no.
Please.
Okay. So, and I think there's two follow-ups to this, but if,
Okay.
if in theory, you're asking us for our input on a citywide event, that's a big question. And so I think for us all to be thoughtful and put pen to paper to give us more time to do that. So that's why I was asking you, in your mind, what time would this event take place? And now we're saying mid-August. So then that gives us maybe till July 1st for all of us to think about it and shoot you back an email or call you with our recommendations or our advice.
For sure. And if you could just do that sometime this week, that would be great, because we don't know how long county's going to have a lot of these proposals, I'm guessing. And so I don't know how long it's going to take to get approval and that sort of thing.
Right.
Go ahead, Stephanie, I'm going to unmute you. Go ahead.
The only thing I would say, I mean, I'm in the middle too, but just realize don't spend too much time organizing a whole bunch of events, because the rules could change tomorrow, next week, next month. And
Right.
I don't think there's any way to finalize the rules to literally a couple of days before the event. So I'm thinking maybe do one and see what happens, because you could be wasting a lot of time if they change all the rules next week when the cases go up. And I just don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I agree with Stephanie. And my other point I just want to mention real quickly is the places that I've gone, they give a time bracket where you can show up between 10 and 11, or you have, an hour and a half to arrive. And that's the only concern I have with a concert that starts at a specific time and everybody's arriving at the same time, big groups trying to come in and filter in, big lines going through. I don't know if there's a way to combat that. So.
Yeah, that's a thank you for that. That's a really good point.
Yep. Okay, so we have homework. Do you want me to move on to the next?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Good. So next on our new business, I'm sorry, where are we? Oh yeah, we are on, I didn't know that was new business, sorry. Mason Road Trail update. This is for Mason Road Trail South. At the June 8th Board of Aldermen meeting, the Board of Aldermen passed an ordinance allocating or appropriating funds for engineering for the piece of asphalt that is in between the sidewalk on Mason Road South, where the city went in and removed the sidewalk and we put in a temporary piece of asphalt. Mason Road is county's road. That is county sidewalk. At the beginning of this year, the 8-foot wide project failed. And so therefore we need to remove this asphalt and put in a 5-foot wide piece of concrete sidewalk. So the board approved those funds on the 8th for the engineering piece of it. And then it'll come back to the board again. We'll have to appropriate funds for the construction of it and anticipate this being taken care of by the end of this year, before the end of this year. I will just let you know that I did not vote in favor of this, and it really got down to the language on the way the bill was written. I just thought a lot was left to, we could have included a lot more information, and it was more than just a change of one word. I thought many more pieces of preambles needed to be included, and I spoke to one of the sponsors of the bill prior to the meeting, and that was discussed, but ultimately I did not persuade the entire board because this project has been going on for several years. It was something that I stepped into when I joined the board last year. And I think a lot of the board members were ready just to get this done. So it did pass, I think, by 6-2 on the vote. And my purpose, again, was just to clean up the language and get it right. But ultimately, this project has to take place because, again, it is county's sidewalk. So we're beholden to them to repair it. That is it. If any questions on that? Okay, moving on to number 3 under new business. If you recall, our duties as Parks and Trails Commissioners were updated several months ago, which included events and parks. And with that, and since a lot of us are now working from home and online, more so probably than ever before, I thought it'd be a good time to look to see what other municipalities are doing online on their websites within their Parks and Recs department, and look at their calendars and see what activities they're offering, see how they're communicating their events, whether it's on their homepage or if you're making several clicks to get there to what they're offering. Are they charging fees? So if the request of the homework is for each commissioner to pick a municipality. And then with that municipality, go to the city's website, click on their Parks and Rec department, and find 1 or 2 things to bring back to the board on best practices that you'd like to see us incorporate on our website. And if we each just bring back 1 item and share it with Ann, between the 10 of us, something really neat could, come out of this. So with that, is that something that, 1, are the commissioners willing to take time and do this? And then 2, if you are, what municipality would you like to take a look at? Stephanie?
So I deal with Baldwin a fair amount. I mean, I can tell you a few things they already do. I get emails from them because I've done activities in Baldwin many times, triathlons and races and stuff, and they have like a monthly email they send out. And I can tell you that they're having a triathlon at the end of July and that their pool opened last Monday because I was in the lifeguard training class the day before and other stuff. But then they have a website that has it where you can sign up for things, but they also send out a monthly calendar, email, blah, blah. And I'm happy to do more about Baldwin and get back with you next week, but those are some things they are doing.
Yeah, and so you raise a good point with where I think when you go on the website, you'll find they do many things that are interesting that we might want to share, but that might be overwhelming to bring too many things forward. So I think if we focus on our 1 or 2 recommendations for Ann, so it's an actionable list. So we're not overwhelming her with 50 items, and we can narrow it down to, we hear what everyone brings forward, and from that list, we narrow it down to maybe 3 things we can execute before the end of the year.
And also, I would like to just add not just events and activities and things as to what they're doing, which is all great. Look at those.
Yep.
Also, if you have an eye that's more towards the website development side of things, just some either a widget that's really user friendly or whatever it happens to be, kind of think of it from that mindset too.
So does anybody not want to do this or have another way to think about this or approach this? Okay, would everyone like to let us know what city Allison?
Okay, I think it's a good idea, but my office is in Ladue, so I'll take Ladue since I.
Okay. Adam?
I was just in Kirkwood at Powder Valley the other day, and for that reason, I'll just take Kirkwood.
Okay.
It's a great
Pat?
park.
Powder Valley is MDC, just, so I don't know, it would be nice. MDC has a nice website, so, and sort of different programming than a lot of cities had, because it's very nature-based. If you want to do, I don't know why I'm talking you into MDC, but if you're interested in doing MDC, either one, Kirkwood or MDC, your choice.
Beth?
How about the pair?
Great. John?
My office is in Chesterfield. So how about I'll do Chesterfield?
Great. And last but not least, Meg.
I got you, Meg.
Oh,
Hold on.
There we go.
Yeah. How about Creve Coeur?
great. And Stephanie has
I
Baldwin.
mean, do we, I did have a question. Are we just strictly talking about municipalities in our town? I mean, in our area, or are we talking about further afield?
You know what? That's, I like what you're saying, and that's a good idea.
Okay, so I'll take one further afield. I'll look at Creve Coeur, but also Boulder has some really great.
There you go.
A while ago for Park Trails map.
Yeah. I just wanted to ensure that there wasn't a duplication within our own municipalities, but I like that idea.
Okay.
All right, are we ready to move on, Pam?
We are.
Okay, it looks like we have about 15 minutes left, and we should be able to wrap up just fine by then. First, the Community Wellness and Mindfulness Program, including Project Unplugged. There were some Project Unplugged classes last weekend, and then also Finding Joy mini retreat, and we're able to accomplish all of those with social distancing. One was indoors, the other was outdoors. So we're trying to do as many outdoor programs as we can, with the indoor essentially as a backup for weather concerns. The Project Unplugged was full, and the Finding Joy had two open spots only. So
What's the attendance? What was the attendance when you say it was full?
so low because we were under a 10-person maximum, but for the capacity of the Project Unplugged room, there were 6 people total, 4 participants. And then for Finding Joy, there were, boy, you're testing me, there were 6.
And then is there a response card that they're given at the end of it to provide feedback?
Yes. It goes out via email
Okay.
right now, so yeah. You know what? There were 7 at Finding Joy.
And were there fees for either one of those?
Yes. The Project Unplugged was a trial class. There was not a fee for that one.
Mhm.
The Finding Joy workshop was $20 per person.
And did they go through our city's website through that portal to sign up for it? And any feedback from any of the participants with regard to that experience with signing up, putting in your family information?
I didn't have any feedback either way.
Okay. And is that software been updated or the programming?
It has, but not fully. It's a sort of staged rollout.
Okay.
So I think we are on stage 1 of 3 stages right now.
And when do you anticipate reaching the 3rd and final stage?
Well, it was supposed to be by December. COVID has, sort
Okay.
of pushed everything back. So I can't say for sure, but it's supposed to be this year.
Okay, and just so everyone understands why I'm asking, this conversation has come up in the past. For me, the last time it was for the turkey trot, where it's sometimes a little bit of a clunky experience signing up you, and then if you have more than just yourself that you're signing up on our website for the event, it just needed to be streamlined, more efficient, and so the company that we have doing that has been working on that. Okay.
Okay. And then secondly, just a quick update on programs. Yoga has started back outdoors, and maybe Meg can give us you want to give us a little yoga update?
Yeah, am I unmuted? Can you hear me?
You're good. Yes, we can hear
Okay.
you.
So yeah, no, it's been great. But I think we had 2 full weeks of yoga outside under the trees. We were fortunate because the weather was beautiful. We have so much space there, and we're still limiting the class to 10. So we're plenty of feet apart from each other, social distancing, and everybody is very conscious and well behaved of that practice. So it's been delightful, and I hope that we can continue it.
Thank you. Then in addition, tennis also started back up. So the courts are open to the public, and then also lessons and camps are taking place. We have a online cake decorating camp that we're working on with Sweetology. So that will be available here very shortly. It may be on the website today, but it may not, but it will be up very shortly. It's in July. And then we have the horse learning classes still planning to operate with equine assisted therapy. So they have been practicing how they do their social distancing with the horses with their programs and feel comfortable, because the way people are signing up is it's a mother-daughter class or it's a family class. So it's sort of easier to manage, which is great. And then lastly, I just want to make a note to make sure we're all clear that the Community Arts and Culture Commission is technically responsible for activities at Town Square. So I wasn't looking for a vote from any of you on that, more just resident input on what you would like to see take place.
Well, yeah, and I thought it was a good question because it will pertain to any event that we have in any of our parks, right? Isn't it across the board? Yeah.
That's right.
So we would use the same process, rules, guidelines, whether it was preservation, De Pere, Longview, or Town Square. But thank you for clarifying that. But it applies to both commissions for events.
And then we have our next meeting scheduled for July 20th at 6:30. It will likely be a Zoom meeting again, but if that changes, we'll let you know in advance of the meeting. Pam, do you have anything to add, or does anyone have anything to add before we sign off?
I don't. I just appreciate you all signing in and working through this new way of doing business for our commission coming together. We appreciate your time, and your input's important, and circling back to Ann will be helpful and beneficial, and that's part of why we all signed up to do this. So to help out in making these important decisions, and this one's a big one when it comes to public safety and health. So we appreciate it. Your time, and your input. So thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Ann.
Good
Good
night.
night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.